Thanks for joining my video. Do you ever have challenges believing in yourself, knowing your power, and also knowing your value? I used to be like that, and I changed. I want to share my story of how I changed. I did it after my suicide attempt, and I can show you how I stood up and how I believed in myself and how that changed my whole reality. You can do it too. Please drop a comment with any questions. Why was it necessary for me to attempt suicide? Let me talk about that. While we're talking getting real with ourselves, I'll talk about why it was necessary for me to attempt suicide 4 years ago. So, it wasn't wrong. It was necessary for my healing and growth and the healing and growth around me. And now I use it as a tool with my clients. And I'll explain that too. If we're getting real, I'm going to get real. So, one of my daughters has an eating disorder. And it's common when a child has an eating disorder, they have challenges with the mom. And, I was in my masculine, I had unhealed trauma, I couldn't emotionally regulate, I had a lot of challenge. And so in the morning, my daughter blamed me for her eating disorder. So I went home and I worked. And then in the afternoon around 2 or 3 o'clock, my brain told me that my children would be better off with a dead mother than a live one. Like, that's how seriously I take motherhood, which, I'd say most women do. That's the most important job a woman will ever have, is being a mother and being, a wife and all the family. That's the most important job. So now my brain, who I'm supposed to trust, right? But I'm mentally ill, so, but in the moment I wasn't logical. Has just told me, your children will be better off if you're dead. That is the level of mental illness that was in my head, that my children would be better off if I were dead. Now, what did I do? I didn't physically abuse my kid. There was definitely emotional abuse. I couldn't regulate my emotions. I had migraines, 4 to 7 migraines a week. It was really difficult. But did I plan out how to, emotionally manipulate my kids or not be self-regulated? No, I would just spend time in my room and let them stay downstairs alone, because that was my better option, right? So it's back to the suicide attempt. So my brain told me that, and then I took a bunch of medication and 120 Klonopin, 60 Soma, and some Ambien. And my other daughter found me the next morning and saved my life. And I went to the hospital, and then I came home. The first time I went to the hospital, and then I was on my lockdown, the psych ward. It was the first time I ever knowingly channeled someone's dead mother, and I actually used my healing gifts. They came to fruition through that event, because my soul had to decide. I had a choice. My soul I could have crossed over. Done. I'm fucking done. F this shit. I've been through so much crap. I've worked so hard. No. I decided to come back, carry 2.0. And I remember telling my older daughter, I said, I'm bringing healing to the whole family, and we're not leaving your dad behind. And that's exactly what has happened. I went on from then. I was on a mission after that. I stood up for myself, because like I said in the last video, if you don't love yourself, the universe will reflect that back to you. And only when you stand up for yourself and help yourself does the universe show up with help. So I stood up. I didn't let my youngest daughter go to Israel with her dad, because she was in the middle of treatment routine, and no one took away my parental rights. So I was going to stand up, and I fought everybody. I fought the clinicians, I fought her dad, and I fought her. And in the end, she told me I was right and moved back in with me, because now I'm strong, because now I'm drawing boundaries, because now I know my power, and I know my worth. And I was gaining. Then I had to take my ex-husband to court, all while my stepfather was dying from pulmonary fibrosis. So I got out of the psych ward to find out my stepfather, who's the healthiest man I ever met, at 70 years old, could ride 40 miles on a bike, is now on the couch dying of pulmonary fibrosis, and his whole family's in Germany, so I got to help him. So I got that. I got my daughter with eating disorder, my son who has mild autism. Dad wouldn't take him back to that house. He even told me I should be punished for my suicide attempt. No one in my family showed up for me. I could have sat home and went boo fucking who. No. I got my ass to Mount Everest at 23. I got my ass up and fixed my damn fucking problems. Like, enough already. So I did. Stood up for my youngest. Stood up, then took my ex to court. Won child support. And had to stand there and say, yes, I recently attempted suicide, but I'm the better parent, and I won. Then that was September. October, I decided to do 4 medicine journeys the next year, and then that was COVID, when COVID started, with psilocybin. So that's what I could see, that I didn't love myself. I could see my dad's abuse clearly as a child and how he was abused and his mom and all the generational trauma. And then I met the first guy. I met Joe, and our mutual affection for each other, mutual love for each other, helped us start this whole healing process that went through. And so the suicide attempt, I use that with my clients who say, well, I can't forgive myself. I said, well, have you done anything worse than attempting suicide and having your child find you to save your life? And usually they say no. I said, okay, well, I've worked through that, forgiven myself for that. And my daughter's forgiven me. We have a great relationship now. So let's work on forgiving you. So that instance in my life is kind of like a check. It's like a boundary. It's like, okay, well, I went all the way out here and your pain is only here. And so we can do this. I've done it way further than you've gone. So let's do that. So it's kind of like it corrals them in their pain, makes them feel safe, makes them feel like, okay, I've been through this. I've done this. So I could look and be embarrassed that I attempted suicide and not talk about it. I could. But no, I'm going to use it as a healing tool. I'm going to stand up in my power and say, yeah, I did that and I came back from it. And I learned all this, and I became an intuitive healer that got all the way up to people in the red pill community that everybody knows. Everybody knows. So, in the end of December of 2020, I didn't even always know when I was being psychic. A year and a half later, I'm using those gifts to help, a couple guys in the red pill space. So, when you believe in yourself, when you love yourself, when you stop judging yourself, and the stepping outside of right and wrong and looking at events as sequential will really help you to stop judge yourself. And that's extremely important, because when you spend time on that kind of negativity, you build that negativity in here, it's going to get projected out there, it's going to come right back at you. And then you have created that whole reality for yourself. And I used to do that all the time. And I don't anymore. I'm constantly trying to say, how can I be positive? How can I be grateful? How can I be grateful for a suicide attempt that my daughter had to find me? How can I find gratitude there? I did. Because that gave me the strength. That was the reality. That was the wake-up call for me to come back, Carrie 2.0, fuck this shit. I want a better life. Thanks for listening to my story. I hope it helped you. Please drop a comment with any questions and subscribe so you can learn more about how to heal your trauma and become the best version of yourself.